Hello, everyone. A very warm welcome. How are you, people? I hope I am being audible and visible. Please let me know. I hope I am being audible and visible. Okay. Okay. That's great. So let us start then. Today's topic economic reforms and schemes. Okay. So, in this topic, we'll be studying more about what were some of the important economic reforms, correct? Uh, what were the important changes made during the time of history in the Indian economic system. And then we'll see some schemes, some flagship schemes. For schemes, there will be one more video coming up. My name is Animesh, and let us start. But before that, just like to show you about our super practice, SSC super practice tests you can give. So you can see in test portions, we have super practice tests and we have them level wise. So you can go into level one, perfect exam like interface. You can just select the answers and you can go ahead with the, and these are sectional timer tests, most important. Okay, for reasoning you have level 1, 2, 3. Okay, English, we have various tests. Okay, very important. Sincere candidates must watch it, practice it. General awareness, you have topic wise. So whenever you go into a topic, you have a test, normal test and a previous year past year question test. Okay, so these are some important things about SSC Super Practice. Must try. Okay, please try it out. Chalo, we'll start today's topic now. India's economic evolution. I named it as India's economic evolution. Correct. This is how we have uh, changed our economy over time. Okay, just a brief history about the time about the economy. Earlier in 1950s, earlier in 1950s, if you see 1950 to 1990, this time it was more of a state planned economy. Okay, it was state controlled mixed economy focused on self reliance and heavy industrialization. So India was targeting more on industrialization. Then we changed, then came the LPG reforms, the very famous 1991 LPG reforms. And towards 2000, this decade, we have the safety net, that is the targeted welfare, sustainable, inclusive growth. Correct. So this is how slowly the landscape has changed, reforms came. So we'll just dive deeper into this a bit. Okay. So from 1950 to 1965, 1950 to 1965, we had two sectors, public sector, private sector, and public sector was more dominated by governed heavy industries and infrastructure. So major heavy industries, which you see today in private sector as well, earlier it was more into public sector. That is under the government. Okay, that was under the government. Private sector was there. Cannot say private sector wasn't there, but private sector was permitted to operate, but under strict government regulation. So it was strict, under strict regulation. Okay, rapid industrialization was happening, employment generation took place, and it was guided by 5-year plans. Very important. Who made these plans? Planning Commission, with the ultimate goal of Atmanirbharta, self-reliance and reduced import dependence. Correct? There was balanced regional development and reduction of poverty and inequality. This is the landscape of Indian economy in 1950 to 1965. Okay, before understanding the economic reforms, we must understand that why these reforms came. Correct? Why these reforms came. That is more important. Okay, now next. 1956, we can say it was socialist. Our economy was more of a socialist. Now, what is socialist? Socialist is where state is major sector market is owned by the state itself. When I say state, it doesn't mean the state government. State here in political, this socialist language means the government, central government. Okay. Accelerated industrial growth, and that has built India's heavy industrial base. So there were three schedules of enterprises. Schedule A was exclusively state monopoly: defense, railway, steel, power, mining, telecom. These were exclusively state monopoly. Monopoly means what? Only the state would operate. Only the state would operate. Schedule B was state dominant with limited private participation allowed, and Schedule C was private sector, heavily regulated by the state. It was heavily regulated by the state. Now, this is a point to pay attention because this thing changed later. Correct? This created efficiency in public enterprises, reduced competition, and increased bureaucratic control. Now, this is giving birth to economic reforms. This was the drive for economic reforms. There was too much bureaucratic control, there was license Raj, correct? Private sector was there, but it was heavily, strictly under, you can say, regulations, correct? Because India just got its independence, and we were becoming independent in terms of economy and market. The role of state was high at that time. But then some reforms came, correct? Now, what are these reforms? 1969 and 1980, bank nationalization happened. 14 major commercial banks were nationalized in 1969. Nationalized means now they will be operated by the government, followed by six more in 1980. So, total how many? Total 20 commercial banks, they were nationalized, expanded services but tightened state control over capital. So state would be controlling them more. This was the first set of reforms. Banks were nationalized in 1969 and 1980. Okay, got my point? Okay, next, Foreign Exchange Regulation Act 1973. When we talk about economic reforms, this is important. First of all, this is important. Second, we have FERA. Okay, a strict wall built to conserve forex reserves and control foreign investment. There shouldn't be, haphazard, endless control on forex. No, it was to be reserved and controlled by FERA. In fact, it severely discouraged technology transfer and foreign capital. The act was good, but it was too much tight. The grip was very tight. Correct? In economy, especially in world economy, you cannot be very much tight. If you are being very strict, the flow of foreign capital reduces, and that's what was happening by these reforms, by this reform, 1973 FERA. Correct? In 1985 came long term fiscal policy. Okay, long term fiscal policy was an attempt to simplify taxation, encourage savings, and reduce tax evasion. So 1969 and 1980 bank nationalization happened. 1973 Foreign Exchange Regulation Act to regulate foreign capital. 1985 long-term fiscal policy came. It was basically to ease on taxation and encourage savings and reduce tax evasion. Now, what is tax evasion? When you avoid paying tax completely. There is difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance. Correct? Tax avoidance is completely you avoid only. Tax evasion is wherever you can reduce, maximize your savings. Okay. So these was the three set of reforms, we can say, which came in the economy. Now comes the major reform part. Okay, now comes Dhurandhar of all reforms. Dhurandhar of all reforms. Correct? 1991, there happened something because of which major reforms came. There was internal vulnerability. What happened? The license permit quota Raj led to low productivity. First thing, the productivity lowered. High government borrowing created a massive fiscal deficit. So there was a massive fiscal deficit. Productivity came down, fiscal deficit went up. Okay. Then imports surge past exports. So we were importing more and exporting less. See, this is how I'm taking you towards the reforms. I can just simply explain you the reforms, but that doesn't make sense. I should explain you what made the reforms to come. Am I right? So I should make you realize that. Are we clear till here? I hope everything is good. Okay. Yes. So our imports exceeded the exports and it created a current account deficit and our international credit ratings came down. Correct? What happened? Our imports increased, exports came down. So this created a current account deficit. Now, what is current account deficit? Balance of payments topic. Okay, please revise. Okay, now what happened? The 1990 Gulf War, it spiked global oil prices, inflating the import bill. As it is, we were importing very high. As it is, our import was more than the export. And over this Gulf War, the crude oil prices increased a lot. And this created a havoc for us. This created a havoc for Indian economy. Mid 1991, we had only 2 weeks of import cover. Now, what is import cover? So, suppose I have today 600 billion US dollar forex. Okay, from this 600 billion dollar US dollar, today I can import for next 11.5 months. I means India. India has 600 approx 600 billion US dollars. So if we start spending these dollars and we just import by just spending this money, we can import for 11.5 months. But at that time, in 1991, only 2 weeks of import cover was left. See, such an alarming situation was there. Alarming situation came, correct? So, an alarming situation will always ask for a extraordinary reforms, correct? So, what happened? What happened was the new economic policy, July 1991. New economic policy. This was the solution to it. This was the solution to it. Okay. I hope I am. Hello. Good afternoon. Yes. I hope I'm being audible now. Yeah, there is some problem with the internet, okay? No issues. Actually, there has been a lot of rain here, so because of that, maybe there is some issue. No problem. So, in July 1991, there came a drastic set of reforms, as I was explaining. P.V. Narasimha Rao was the Prime Minister, and Dr. Manmohan Singh was the Finance Minister. And what India decided is, India decided to change the whole game. We brought these reforms called LPG. Okay. India secured a $7 billion lifeline from IMF and World Bank in exchange of some structural reforms. Now, these reforms are LPG reforms. Okay. So, short term, we had stabilization measures. There were short term reforms, long term reforms. Short term was more on controlling inflation, correcting balance of payment, and rebuilding forex reserves. Correct? This was the short term. Long term was focusing on improving efficiency and integration through LPG framework. So these were the long term reforms. Long term. Got my point? Easy? Easy peasy. ठीक है? Okay. Now, what were these reforms? LPG in LPGL means liberalization. It means the removing government regulations, making it more liberal, making the market more liberal, abolishing licensing, allowing market forces to operate, correct, and determine production and pricing, correct. So this was liberalization. It comes from the word liberal, making it more free. Free. Next was privatization, transferring ownership or management of PSEs to private entities. To private entities. Am I right? Correct, na? Globalization. Globalization meant opening up of the economy, integrating the Indian economy with the world through increased trade, FDI, and technology transfer. So these were the major set of reforms which came. Correct? Industrial sector, license Raj was finished. License Raj was made to like stop. Correct? Financial sector, Narsimham Committee recommendations allowed private and foreign banks to operate, foreign FIIs to enter Indian markets. These were one of the major reforms in which Narsimham Committee's recommendations are very important. Tax reforms came, correct, gradually over the period of time, and trade and forex. In immediate rupee devaluation in 1991 was done to boost exports. Whenever we devalue, or if the uh, devaluation means what? It is deliberately done by the government. Depreciation is different from devaluation. Depreciation happens on its own, on market forces. Devaluation is done deliberately by the government. So, devaluation happened in 1991 because our exports were very less, imports were very high. So, current account deficit was very high. Okay. Privatization meant disinvestment becomes the primary tool to reduce fiscal burden. PSUs were granted operational autonomy, correct? Maharatna, Navratna, and Miniratna tiers were made to enable commercial decision making. Okay. Globalization, India becomes a global powerhouse. We started our business process, BPOs, correct? Service exports, IT services due to cost advantage and skilled force. Our IT sector boomed after globalization. IT sector boomed. India joined founding member as a founding member of WTO in 1995, aligning trade policies. Major reforms, major from examination point of view also, and major from terms of knowledge and history also. Okay. Are we clear till here? Any doubt you can let me know. So we had done the LPG reforms. Okay. Balance sheet of 1991. Now what were the positives? Assets, positive outcomes of these reforms. Growth started accelerating. GDP growth rate started accelerating. IT, telecom, pharma, these sectors exploded like anything. Strong FDI flow inflows were there. Foreign direct investment started coming in. There was a massive surge in foreign exchange reserves. So there were so many positives to it. But only positives were there? No. Only positives. There are some challenges still there. Agriculture suffered. Its growth severely lagged behind. Okay. There was a widening rural urban income disparities. extremely low public expenditure on healthcare and education and social security. So these were some of the challenges which were still there, which had to be addressed. Okay, so these were some of the most important reforms we saw. From history, we came to LPG reforms. From examination point of view, also LPG reforms are most important: liberalization, privatization, and globalization. You don't need to mug it up. You have to go ahead with some sort of conceptual clarity. Now let us talk about some schemes. Correct? To have an inclusive growth, to have some inclusive growth, the government has to address socio-economic gaps and rural disparities. Correct? They have to be a welfare state. Welfare state means providing the government provides this thing to the public, right? Services, facilities. Utilizing digital public infrastructure, the government deployed a vast array of sector specific schemes. Sector specific schemes. Now, which are these schemes we are talking about? So, we had Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, universal banking access in 2014 we had. Now these schemes are financial inclusion and social security schemes. Schemes has various categories. Correct? For crisis support, we had Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana, Antyodaya Anna Yojana. This was basically to subsidize food for the poor, provide food, guaranteed food to the poor. For risk protection, we had Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. So it is kind of an insurance, you can say, life insurance. Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana, life and accidental disability cover. And then came Atal Pension Yojana, national pension scheme, pension for unorganized sector, retirement security. So when we talk about schemes, there is base access, crisis support, risk protection, retirement security. These are the types of schemes in current contemporary India. Correct? I hope I am being audible and visible. Okay. Chalo, next. Okay, seeing other schemes, we have health and sanitation, Ayushman Bharat. Okay, Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, massive national health scheme covering 5 lakh per. This is one of the world's largest health insurance scheme. Okay, now this has been extended to senior citizens above 70 years of age also. Okay, National Rural Health Mission, comprehensive rural health care was provided with infrastructure. Swachh Bharat Abhiyan was launched, achieving universal sanitation and cleanliness. Women, Child and Development mein we had various schemes like Mission Shakti 2021. It was an umbrella scheme for women empowerment. Pradhan Mantri Matritva Vandana Yojana, cash incentives for maternity support. Okay, all these schemes are very important. That's why I've brought just a list of some schemes and under various topics. So, like I told you about financial inclusion and security, then I'm showing you for health and sanitation. Now, women and child development. Sukanya Samriddhi Yojana, small saving scheme for girl child. Poshan Abhiyan was there. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao was there. Correct. So these are some of the most important schemes. Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao. Correct. Very, very important. Agriculture and rural lifeline schemes. So we have Manrega, very, very important. Correct. Legal guarantee of 100 days of wage employment. This was in 2006. We had Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana for Pakka houses and Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana for all weather roads. Okay. For all weather roads. Then we had income support PM Kisan, direct transfer to 6,000 annually to their families. Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, crop for crop insurance. This is also one of the major important schemes. And then we have Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sichai Yojana. This was of improving water use via per drop more crop. So whenever you are studying about the topic schemes, divided into various categories. Now related to skilling and digital infrastructure energy, we have various schemes like Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan and PM Kaushal Vikas Yojana. Correct. This was for youth skill training. Then we had Digital India, very, very important. Startup India to promote innovation. For energy, we had PM Ujjwala Yojana. and Saubhagya for universal household electrification. Infrastructure mein we had Gati Shakti, PM Gati Shakti, and production linked incentive scheme to boost domestic manufacturing. So these are some of the most important schemes related to skilling and digital. Correct? Environment, governance, and social justice. So environment and water, we had Jal Jeevan Mission. Correct? For functional household tap connections, National Clean Air Program, 20 to 30% reduction in air pollution, and Green India Mission, Amrit Dharohar. For social justice, we had Stand Up India, Smile, Mission Karm Yogi, and Agnipath OROP, one rank, one pension defense sector schemes. So, see, we had such a wide variety of schemes. We have such a huge array of schemes. Correct? So, this is a table of some of the most important schemes. Jan Dhan Yojana. Correct? We have Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, uh, Swachh Bharat Mission, Digital India, PM Awas Yojana, Ujjwala Yojana, correct? Fasal Bima Yojana, Manrega, Ayushman Bharat, PM Kisan, and Jal Jeevan Mission. So this was a set of schemes I had brought for you. Okay, now let us do some questions. Let us practice some questions on it. Okay, now tell me, new economic policy was introduced in quick, quick, quick in the chat section. New economic policy was introduced in which year? 1991. 1991. Correct? 1991. Next, LPG in economic reform stands for, what is LPG? Liberalization, privatization, globalization. Correct? LPG. Liberalization, privatization, globalization. Okay? Easy? We just now discussed it, right? Liberalization is opening up your trade. Privatization is transferring state ownership to private ownership. Globalization is opening up your economy to world economy. Okay? Chalo. Next. PMJDY, which scheme is this? Is related to Jan Dhan Yojana. Jan Dhan. Dhan say you can correlate. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan. Dhan will be related to which one? Finance. Financial inclusion. Correct? Stand Up India scheme is meant for. What was for Stand Up India scheme? What was the theme for Stand Up India scheme? What was the theme? Quick, quick, quick. So what was the scheme? Theme? It was SC, and women entrepreneurs. The scheme was on SC, and women entrepreneurs. Okay. PM Kisan provides annual assistance of how much? Annual assistance of how much? 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, or 8,000? Hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. Network issues. Okay. So we were on fifth question. PM Kisan 6,000 rupees. आगे बढ़े. बताइए. LPG. Yeah. LPG reforms were initiated in 1991. Dr. Manmohan Singh was finance minister. Industrial licensing was abolished for most industries. Which one of the following question is correct? Statement is correct. बताइए. Tell. Quick, quick, quick. LPG reforms initiated 1991. Manmohan Singh was the finance minister. Yes. Industrial licensing was abolished. So all the three statements are correct. Okay. Just now we discussed this. Mudra scheme was launched in. Now this is a good question. Tell. Mudra scheme was launched in. So it was launched in 2015. Please remember, Mudra scheme was launched in 2015. Okay. Now you tell me, this is your homework. Mudra scheme is related to what? Okay. Which scheme aims at universal health coverage? Universal health coverage. Ayushman Bharat. Correct? 5 lakh per family. Correct? Ayushman Bharat. One of the flagship schemes and one of the largest schemes worldwide on health coverage. Okay, next. PMJJBY, I won't say the full form, otherwise you can answer it, is a life insurance scheme. Okay, okay, Jeevan Jyoti, I'll say. Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana. PMSBY is an accident insurance scheme, Suraksha Bima, and Atal Pension Yojana. Is it correct? Which of the following statement is correct? All of them are correct, right? So, Pradhan Mantri Jeevan Jyoti Bima Yojana is a life insurance scheme. Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Bima Yojana is an accidental insurance scheme. So, there are two types of insurance, life insurance and accidental insurance. And Atal Pension Yojana is for retirement and pension. Which institution replaced the Planning Commission? So, which institution replaced the Planning Commission? Which institution is that? National Institution for Transforming India, Niti Aayog. Correct? So, it was Niti Aayog which replaced the Planning Commission, and then thereafter, our last 5 year plan was 12th 5 year plans. Okay, 12th 5 year plans were the last. Now, Startup India was launched in 2016, Skill India was launched in 2015, and Make in India was launched in 2014. Which of the following statement is correct? Correct. Startup India, Skill India, Make in India. Which one is correct? So it is all the three are correct. Please remember the year. So first came Make in India, then came Skill India, then came Startup India. So you can remember MSS. Make in India, Skill India, Startup India. Sometimes they might give the questions like this in a twisted manner. Okay, so we need to be ready to answer that. Which scheme provides crop insurance? Crop insurance is provided by which scheme? Crop insurance. Fasal Bima Yojana. So which is that? B. Correct? Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. This is Antyodaya Yojana, Gram Sadak Yojana. Ujjwala was what? You let me know. Ujjwala Yojana was related to what? And Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana aimed at housing for all. Ujjwala Yojana provides LPG connections, and Swamitv schemes issues property cards. So which one of the following is correct? Quick, quick, quick. This you should know. A very easy question. So all of the statements are correct. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana is housing for all. Pakka houses. Please remember, Pakka houses. Ujjwala Yojana provides LPG connections, and Swamitv was for property cards using drone surveillance. Correct? Next, Niti Aayog was formed in 2015. It is a constitutional body. It follows cooperative federalism. Good question. I've deliberately put this question. Niti Aayog was formed in 2015. Bilkul correct. It is a constitutional body? No, it is not a constitutional body. So only 1 and 3 are correct. It follows cooperative federalism. Niti Aayog is not a constitutional body. Please remember, Niti Aayog is not a constitutional body. Clear? Easy? Next. Which reform reduced import restrictions and tariffs? Very easy. Just now we had discussed it. Which one is it? Is globalization. Correct? So LPG reforms came in 1991. We saw that, and globalization helped in what? Removing import restrictions and tariffs. Okay. So friends, this was all about economic reforms and some schemes. We have practiced the questions as well. Please keep revising the topics. Very, very important. This topic is very important from economy point of view, and part of it is important from current affairs point of view also, because schemes are in question all the time. Okay, we'll be meeting soon in next class. Till then, keep revising. If you haven't watched the previous videos, please watch the previous videos and keep practicing hard. Success is on the way. Okay, don't lose hope. Be motivated. We'll meet soon in the next class. Thank you, everyone.